Good morning, everybody. This is Community First. I'm back again rendering my voice here. I'm doing a sound bite for you. I first want to give thanks to my subscribers for subscribing and posting your comments. It's not going unheard. It's very needed and necessary. Thank you so much. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please do. And hopefully you enjoy these commentaries and sound bite. They're very imperative. Thank you again. This is Community First. I have a question, and I want to have a question pointing out to immigration and people who are opposed to our movement and slave descendants movement in this country, ADOS. I want to ask a question to immigration. I want to know something. I want to know, what is your concern with how we reckon with our government? That's what I want to know. I want to know what your concern. I want to know, why are you feeling important, or probably not important, to what we have in terms of our own political umbrella, our own situation, our own jurisdiction in terms of history, the natives in this country, our slave descendants? Where is your dogs in this race? Who are you? Why are you concerned with what we have as an agenda in terms of reckoning with our own government? Now, first and foremost, that speaks volumes that you're positioning yourselves around and centering around what we have as a agenda and as a movement, as it pertains to who we are and what we've been through and what kind of environment we have been subject to in terms of government policy. Now, I also have another question to immigration. I want to know, because I'm going to set the record straight here. I want to know exactly why have you looked at the actual history and the laws of which, the reason of which why you're actually here and how you got here, under what terms and under what conditions in terms of government policy. And that means that how you exist here, how did you get here, how are you able to access this first world nation, why did you come here? Have you thought and have you did an assessment in that realm of analysis, since you got so much you want to say? Because in my assessment, the reason you're able to be here is through the Immigration Act of 1965, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s regime. Those are our parents and our grandparents that got out and fought in the first world nation to make a statement and set laws and push laws in effect that you benefit from under the term minority, and being in civil rights laws and being able to access certain avenues throughout affirmative actions that belong to the descendants of slaves in this country. And being on the 14th Amendment, which was written right after slavery was abolished to give the descendants of slaves really a substantial existence in terms of them being a citizen of this country, like the powers that be, to be a citizen, the descendants of slaves and the slaves. And you benefit from all of these actions, all of these laws that were produced and that we were able to get out, and our parents were able to get out and fight for, to pull you out of your homeland, which you consider to be divisive, destructive, war zones, where you cannot have a voice really, and you cannot reign the real civilized exchanges, wealth, and all that stuff to come to the first world nation. What the slaves had did, went through chattel slavery and gave blood sacrifice and fought into wars and all that kind of stuff, where you were able to come and be inside this society. You haven't did that homework, I guess. So what you got to understand is that it speaks volumes when you guys are opposed to ADOS and when you guys are opposed to us and our reckoning with our own government. That tells a lot. That tells a lot. And you don't have any dogs in this race. Now, a lot of you guys may understand and may not, but it seems like you would. Obviously you don't understand, because I wouldn't keep doing it, because you guys are opposing straw man arguments when you're opposed to something that you really don't have any benefit from. That's probably why. Or nothing to lose or nothing to gain. I don't understand. It may be something you feel like you're losing. Also, think about that. It may be something that you feel like you're losing. However, I understand that a lot of us, it's not a lot of black immigrants in the country as opposed to white immigrants, the Mexicans and, people from the southern border. So we've accounted for that, we understand that. But for you to go out the way to be a commentary, do podcasts, and bring up all kind of analysis of who we are and what we do and how we reckon with our government speaks volumes. And it's a transparent situation, especially for us to know who you are. And other people have said that. And we was like, well, maybe not. They're not really against us. We understand. And people calling us, Africans calling us Akata and stuff like that. Different things of that nature. And basically further trying to subject the people that were slaves in the country to humility when you are existing here from being us, or from, aligning yourself with who we are. Going to our HBCUs, graduating from our colleges and our Ivy Leagues and stuff like that, coming over here, accessing the wealth of our system, and constantly going against everything we have put on the table in this day's time. And it may be a failure of your ancestors or people that brought you here for you to reflect, for you to basically have no empathy of the people that actually you should value. And so that's just something I want to set the record straight about in terms of immigration, because you guys are out there and you're saying a whole bunch of stuff and you're very divisive about what we are and who we are in terms of a society, in terms of a community. So it's crazy, because when we look at this, we thought you guys basically, and we know you guys came here for a better life, and you couldn't really, you had to come here to keep from pissing in the river. You were not eating properly, and you were in villages and poor places, and you had a strong intellectual presence you couldn't practice in your own country. You had an education, but you couldn't make that kind of money. You want your children to have a better life. And you were basically eating rice out of a bowl, and, all kinds of stuff. Now, some people may have transferred to the United States that were very well off in their countries as well, but yet they come here because they see a more due diligence in terms of accessibility of being a minority in this country, that's a term that got basically everybody co-opted in, everybody around that we, that center around who we are and the laws that we fought for. And you don't appreciate that, obviously. And so you're making commentary and having a loud voice and trying to be important in spaces you don't fit in. Unless you standing with us. That's your place. Because now you are here enjoying the things that we have fought for because of who our parents are and who they were and are today, and who we are as descendants of slaves. We already know who we are. We don't need you to come and do analysis about who we are. We already know that drugs were inserted in our community, and it created a devalue and defaced us in terms of the conspiracy, drugs, and stuff like that, and that it basically put a perpetuation up, and the fourth retrogressive government puts a perpetuation up on the slave descendants in this country. And then you guys are mimicking us in terms of our culture and the music and stuff like that, but yet you have a lot of pushback in terms of who we are, and you're very rude and you don't appreciate us. But we want to say that, well, let's try to get along with everybody and everything. But you guys don't make that possible when you come out and do commentary and have loud voices about who we are, and saying F-boy movement. This is a F-boy movement. This is a beta male movement and all that kind of stuff. You don't know how transparent that is and what kind of image you building for yourself at this time. You don't realize it, obviously, or you don't care, because we are not necessarily in a place of tribalism against our own people. We've never been in that place. We don't understand that. You guys ran from that to come here to have more civilized exchange and bring your families here. And you are in this society disrespecting us. I mean, you know, and it can be looked upon as childish, but we got grown folk that are asking for things that we're supposed to have, like your little boy, your little African boy that got up and said he want reparations for Africans. Well, why didn't you're supposed to be doing that in Africa or wherever you came from? Not here. We're the slave descendants here. We have a reckoning with our own government. You don't have any dogs in this race. You're supposed to be standing with us. Actually, not. You came from a place where you couldn't function. A lot of you did. You wasn't functioning well in their homeland. Why ain't you over there telling your government how to treat you? Why are you coming over here with all this voice? That's how we're looking at this. That's just how we see it. That's just what it is. So you have to understand that this place is built by slaves. And we have forced and pushed these laws in effect that you exist off of. So when you do that to us, you bite in the hand that feeds you. And you don't realize what you're doing. Because we're all not standing on the corner, strung out on drugs, being defaced. A lot of us are educated and well aware of what's going on. And I don't think you guys understand that. And I do know that a lot of people that are from other countries understand this, and they have the momentum of respect, and they want to be a part, and they want to help us and everything. But those who are opposed to what we are doing, I want you to know you're speaking volumes when you are making commentary about what we're doing and being disrespectful. It's like you rode a broom to the meeting, and you know witches ride brooms. So I just want to speak that out loud to you guys so you understand that nobody's blind. We see directly what's going on. We would hope that you will find the respect and the empathy of what we've experienced in this country as slave descendants. But some of you guys are very noisy and very irritating and disrespectful. It's hard to imagine you being a grown person and have the history of which you reside, and that's the United States. That was built by slaves and our ancestors, and laws that were pushed in to keep you safe as you come here and reign any opportunity. That all belongs to us. But anyway, thank you for listening. I just want to make a little sound bite about immigration, because you guys are going crazy out there saying a whole bunch of stuff that you don't even have nothing to do with. So that speaks volumes. If you guys need to keep doing that so we can understand what we're dealing with, then so to speak. But it's shameful to see that go on for people who are supposed to appreciate those who have fought wars. And this is a first world nation. We happen to get laws passed in the first world nation that you cannot enjoy in your home land. That's who we are. That's who we are. Thank you for joining me.